Hi again. Well, I did a thing earlier this week, or is it last week by this point? I don't know, wibbly wobbly timey wimey, but um, I did a video using StreamYard where I just looked at some rankings of Doctor Who related stuff, and believe it or not, it actually got a fairly decent amount of views. Fairly decent compared to what I usually do, so I figured why not do another one of these? I mean, what's the harm? So I found this other thing. Hold on, let me just share screen. And I think I'm going to use the same format that I did last time. Hopefully, it won't take as long as it did last time. But I found this Doctor Who Every Modern Companion Exit ranked worst to best. And I looked at the date. It's December 13th, 2022, which means it's post Power of the Doctor. So it'll have the most recent one there. And, well, this time it's Screen Rant, not Collider. So suppose it's time to see how they got it wrong this time around. I think I also disagree with some of the rankings that Screen Rant have had for Doctor Who in the past. Let's see how much am I going to get angry at a very particular someone who is going to be on this list. Okay, let me just see. Oh wow, I kind of need to scroll a little bit. Okay, so it doesn't really have much of a ranking. I mean, it just says Dan. Hold on. So are you saying that Dan is the worst or Dan is the best? Really would have helped a lot if my mouse would have worked properly, but uh, yeah. So I don't even know if I want to read this. Hold on, let me just check. Yeah, the screen isn't really quite the same as it was earlier. Yeah, this is how I did it last time. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. Come to think of it, I don't know. Yeah, let's keep it that way. So, yeah, it doesn't really say much. Maybe I should read these, but these do tend to be longer than the Collider one that I just did. But I mean, based on like the first line here, it pretty much says it that Dan was the worst in their opinion. But you scroll down here and it's Ryan and Graham, which was like the ones before him. So I don't know if they're counting it in backwards order or if they really do think that Dan was the worst and Ryan and Graham was okay. And then it just goes to Nardole. Okay, I'm killing this by the way right now. It really would have helped if they actually had proper rankings like the Collider one had that I did last week. But let's talk about Dan for a second. I don't mind Dan. I definitely don't think his departure is the worst. I mean, I have definitely seen worst, particularly in the classic series. But I mean, that's not really what they're counting here. But I mean, I think they set his departure up pretty good, all things considered. Like he's been traveling with the Doctor for pretty much a full season, even though it was only a shortened season. Two specials, and by the third special, like he gets very, very close to death right at the very beginning, and then he just has, the intuition to just go, "Hey, you know what? I'm done. I've had some fun with you, Doctor. We've had the best of times, but I gotta go before I get myself killed." And you know what? As a companion departure, that's pretty good. I mean, that's not really bad. That's definitely far, far from being the worst. As for Ryan and Graham, I don't know. I think Dan's departure is better than Ryan and Graham. Like seriously, I think Ryan and Graham, I think, are two companions that kind of have overstayed their welcome. I didn't mind. the two of them together while they were traveling with the Doctor. Like seriously, I don't mind them as companions. I actually like Graham. Ryan was there most of the time. That's really a lot of things you can just say about the Jodie Whittaker era is that it was there. It exists. Not really much of anything, but their departure. I liked that they finished off that final scene of them together doing what they pretty much did when we first got introduced to them. Like Ryan still trying to ride a bike properly and Graham trying to help him, but considering everything they've been through, Ryan is much more accepting of Graham. And their relationship definitely got better, especially when compared to their first episode. Now, again, I don't think they needed 2 full seasons plus a special, 2 specials, I should say, to get over that hump. I'm pretty sure they already trusted each other enough after season 1, but like I said, they were there. I definitely don't hate these two as much as most people do. Ryan, he's harmless, and the whole dyspraxia storyline started out like with a lot of potential, but went nowhere. And that's another thing you can say about the Jodie Whittaker era. They introduced something with some potential and never really followed up on it. So what are you gonna do? Nardole, though. I like Nardole. Nardole is my favorite 12th Doctor companion. Not that there's much to compare it to, but still. I like Nardole a lot. His departure does kind of feel a little bit anticlimactic. Like he's spent the majority of series 10. That was Capaldi's last season. He spent the majority of series 10 talking about how he has a very dark and mysterious past that we never got to see. That's another thing that started out with a lot of potential and really went nowhere. That's not really something you would expect from Stephen Moffat. But it just really proves the point that I've been saying for years, that we should have gotten one more season with Capaldi. I mean, I've said this ad nauseum on multiple different shows, how Capaldi's first season is one of the worst, and his second season is one of the best. So, and the third season was very middle of the road, in my opinion. We needed another season with Capaldi. I get that Capaldi didn't want to do it. I just felt like he had another season in him. We needed more time with Bill, and I would have loved the chance to learn more about Nardole. And maybe it would have made the departure better. Just keep everything the same. Keep World Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls exactly as they were. Just, give us some more of the Nardole backstory. Just keep it. Don't do it after Capaldi's third season. Just do another season with Capaldi, Bill, and Nardole. And, of course, Missy. And just explore some more of Nardole stuff and then do the departure. I think it would have landed a little bit better. But what are you going to do? Okay, Yaz. So it's definitely ranking. It's not doing it in reverse order. This was the Yaz departure. Again, it's another one of those things. I didn't mind Yaz as much as other people did. I didn't love Yaz as much as some people did. But, it's another one of those, for me personally, it's another one of those 13th Doctor things that just, it was there. It existed. I definitely could have done without the forced love story that came around, like, late in Jodie's final season and kept being hinted at throughout her specials. And it didn't really go much else other than, a couple of scenes in The Power of the Doctor. I definitely think Chibnall did what he could with that forced last-minute love story, but again, it's another staple of the Jodie Whittaker era of just things that were there. A lot of potential, didn't really go anywhere. And I loved that moment of Yaz carrying the Doctor back into the TARDIS. I love the at the end there that she's piloting the TARDIS on her own. I mean, you've traveled with the Doctor for 3 seasons. I think at this point you kind of learn a few things about the TARDIS. So I don't know if some people liked or disliked the fact that she's now flying the TARDIS on her own. So I definitely seen other characters do that, but to each his own. Overall, like I felt like the Yaz could have had more stories with the Doctor if Jodie Whittaker had more to stories uh, past the power of the Doctor, but I think her departure made sense. Like the Yaz and 13th Doctor relationship is just it's just too intrinsic to each other. Like Yaz has literally been a part of every single 13th Doctor story, start to finish. Think about it. No other companion has ever done that. Like Jodie's first ever episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, she meets Yaz. Her final story, Power of the Doctor, she says goodbye to Yaz. Every single story in between, across any form of media, Yaz is there. Like, throughout all the seasons, comics, novels, 13th Doctor and Yaz were inseparable. So it made sense that when it came time for Jodie to leave and the Doctor to regenerate, it made sense that, Yaz would be leaving. Like, it's not her Doctor anymore. It's not going to be her Doctor anymore. So it was the best thing for both of these characters. So it made a lot of sense. So, again, I think maybe it just got as low on the list as it does because of how disliked the Jodie Whittaker era was. But I definitely think Power of the Doctor was one of the best episodes, especially in this particular era of Doctor Who, which I guess it's not saying much, but still, I liked it a lot. And now we get to Bill. Again, I'm just going to keep harping on this point. We needed more with Bill. And you can kind of see this star-shaped eyeball here of Heather, her girlfriend. Like, we needed more with Bill. I'm one of the few people on the planet that actually enjoys the Monk trilogy. Sue me. I felt like there was a lot of good stuff going on there in that trilogy, and definitely a lot of good stuff for Bill. I liked Bill. It just not a lot of substance. I think you can kind of tell because not only was Capaldi's final season, but it was also Stephen Moffat's final season. You can kind of tell that Stephen Moffat ran out of gas showrunning Doctor Who after he delivered the masterful season that he did previously, and then obviously followed that up with the Husbands of River Song, one of the best Doctor and River Song stories. And I also really, really liked the return of Doctor Mysterio. But by Capaldi's last season, you can kind of tell that he was running out of gas, and the creative juices that he spent the better part of 8 years pouring into the show were starting to run dry. So, and unfortunately, Pearl Mackie and her character, I wouldn't say suffered for it, but they got the short end of the stick as a result of that. So I think they brought Bill back for Twice Upon a Time, which I loved, and she got to hang out with two doctors at the same time, and an ancestor of the Brigadier. I think it was his father, maybe grandfather. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, she could have been I wouldn't say great companion, but she would have been a very good companion if she had one more season with Capaldi. But what are you going to do? Amy and Rory should not be this low, but I don't know. I mean, hey, again, it's not me. It's Screen Rant doing some shenanigans, but I mean, Amy and Rory is one of the most memorable and saddest companion departures in the show's history, in my opinion. And I'm including the classic series in it as well. But, like, I suppose one could argue that because they killed them off so many times throughout their run. Like they're dead and they're not dead. They're dead, not dead. One time they killed them both. One time only Rory dies. Several times only Rory dies, and then next time Amy dies and Rory's holding her lifeless body, and then Rory dies again, and then just. Yes, it's got that early Star Trek feel, at least for me personally. I'm not attributing to these two, but in the classic series of Star Trek, the '60s Star Trek, it felt like every episode, one of the main characters either dies or is about to die. It was like throwing darts on a board, seeing which character is going to die next, and it was like this episode Kirk dies, this episode McCoy dies, this episode Spock dies, this episode Scotty dies. And the thing is, every episode where that was the case, they brought them back to the point where after the first 5 times, you're kind of like, okay, how are they going to kill off this? Okay, which character are they going to kill off in this episode? And how are they going to bring them back by the end of the episode? It became that sort of a thing, and it lost all the entire effect of killing a character off. I understand killing a character and then bringing them back once, twice, 3 times. When it's almost every episode, you lost me. And I definitely didn't feel that way when Amy and Rory jumped off that roof. I mean, that moment with the music and the slow motion gets me every time. I'm always in tears. And then even then, they're fine. They're still alive. And then they die again, permanently, finally. But that final farewell is incredible. It's amazing. Again, tears every time. Just, you didn't need that double whammy of being hit with them being thrown off, jumping off the roof, and then they die again. Like, pick a side, Steven. Seriously, pick a side. So, because Stephen Moffat, especially in this show, has a really hard time letting go of things. And I think these two characters and another character that we're going to talk about suffered for it because they kept dying and coming back so many times that when their actual death came, it just wasn't as impactful. And it sucks because Amy and Rory are two great characters that unfortunately suffered for Stephen Moffat's lack of wanting to put a definitive ending on something. Like, a lot of characters in Doctor Who during Stephen Moffat's run had more endings than Lord of the Rings. But let's see. Okay, Martha. And again, it would have worked a lot better if they actually had a number on these things. Why they chose not to do that, I will never understand. But okay, so Martha's my favorite modern companion. I'll say this. Martha is my favorite David Tennant companion, favorite modern series companion. She's great. She's the best. But actually, no, but I don't know why the Martha is not close to the top. And again, it would have helped a lot if I actually had a number to attribute it to. Because I don't know how many companions they're going to count by the end. So I suppose I'll just have to do the rankings myself later on. But I love Martha. I love her. I think I'm kind of struggling whether or not her season is the best of David Tennant's seasons, or if it's the next one right after that. But I just love so much that she got over her unrequited love for the Doctor. She finally realized that he's never going to reciprocate that love for her. And she had, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, she had the balls to get up, to stand up and say, I'm done. I'm leaving. We can still stay friends, but I'm not going to chase after you anymore. I'm not going to be play second fiddle to the woman you lost. I'm not going to be the rebound girl anymore. Like, I'm done. I've got my own life. I'm gonna go ahead and marry Lucifer Morningstar and then dump him for Mickey for some reason. She stood her ground. She saved the world several times over. She did more for the Doctor than Rose did, at least in season 2, I suppose. But yeah, Martha is definitely somewhere near the top as far as departures, and she's one of the few companions in Classic Who that got up and said, sorry, in Modern Who that got up and said, "I'm leaving," and they didn't, and left really the Doctor no choice. And while the classic series is full of these characters that leave on their own, the modern series not so much. So I'm really glad that Martha was one of the few characters in the modern series that left of their own volition. And yeah, I think again, I don't know I need a reminder of some of the other ones, but definitely, I put Martha somewhere near the top, if not the top. And here we go, my least favorite character in the entire series. I don't even know where to start with this. First of all, why is Clara better than Martha? But whatever. And again, it's just so infuriating that Clara's departure is so high. Because first of all, hey, which departure are we talking about here? Are we talking about when she she told the Doctor off after he left her alone on the moon and told her she never wanted to see him again, and then came back for the Mummy on the Orient Express? Are we talking about the time where she said goodbye to him when he lied to her about finding Gallifrey, and she lied to him about finding Danny Pink, and then came back for Christmas and then died as an old woman and then came back as a younger woman? Are we talking about when she died after she faced the Raven and then came back when the Doctor extracted her from the timeline? Or are we talking about the one in this picture right here, where after so many moments of will she, won't she just pulled another fast one on the Doctor, as she usually tends to do, because, of course, she's better than the Doctor. Who cares about this 2,000-year-old Time Lord when you have this character on the scene? But yeah, she pulls another fast one on the Doctor, because of course she does. She's perfect. She's better than the Doctor. And then leaves in her own TARDIS with a broken chameleon circuit and a human companion, almost as if she's the Doctor now, apparently. And looks like it was a setup for another spin-off that thankfully never happened. But that episode just bothers me so much, especially after such a stellar season. We get this episode as the finale, and it just drives me mad. Like, all the bad mistakes that they make with that character. And I've been saying this for years, and I will die on that hill if I have to. They should have killed her off in name of the Doctor. Like, instead of the Doctor stupidly jumping into his own timeline to save her, while it did give us the reveal of the War Doctor, which is just great, mind-blowing, for the character herself, she should have just died. Like, the Great Intelligence didn't survive the trip. What makes her so special? Why did she get to live while this other omnipowerful being does not? It made no sense. A lot of the things about that character doesn't make sense, but this one in particular, they should have just killed her off. Would have been better for the character, would have been better for the show, better for the Doctor, and just write in a new companion. It's not that difficult. Why she stayed on for 2 more seasons, I will never understand. But mainly it was because, again, Stephen Moffat refusing to let go of things and just could not find a proper ending to that character that felt satisfying, so he kept bringing her back. And I can stay here and harp on this point all night long, all day, all week, all year. I won't even be done by the 60th anniversary. So suppose just have to accept that the Claret is this high on the rankings and move on to better companions. Honestly, I was expecting Rose. Hold on. Does that mean Rose is number one? Try to remember which other companions are left. Hold on. Oh yeah, Donna. I forgot about Donna. So yeah, Donna is number one. Rose is number two. And Clara's number three for some reason. But yeah, Rose is just one of the saddest endings to a companion. My opinion of Rose has changed and fluctuated over the years. Like when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, when I first watched the seasons with Rose, my heart was broken when she had to leave. And again, it's a companion that did not leave on her own free will, unfortunately, and that sucks for her. But again, my opinions on her as a character have changed dramatically over the past decade or so, but that ending, I mean, this moment right here, the two of them standing at the same wall in different universes, at least knowing for the time, that they will never see each other again. Great. That is a stellar departure for a great character, or at least what I felt was a great character at the time. Of course, obviously they brought her back, and this is what kind of makes this rankings that much more difficult, because some of these characters left and then came back, as opposed to like the classic series where when a companion left, they left for good. Like if they came back, it was only for a decade anniversary special, or a multi-doctor story where you kind of have to bring them back. The modern series kind of had more companions that came back that left and then came back, and I'm suddenly noticing, where's Captain Jack? Like seriously, where is Captain Jack on this ranking? Anyone? And I suppose in a way you can kind of also put Missy in that category. Guess. And Danny Pink isn't really on here. Mickey and Jackie, I guess they only really wanted to stick to the main companions and limit the rankings. There's just so many other characters that they just left off. The Paternoster Gang, anyone? But again, they didn't really have much of a departure. But Jack certainly did. Didn't even bother to bring up River Song. I mean, the wedding of River Song. Not the wedding. Sorry, the husbands of River Song. That definitely would have peaked. But in that case, I mean, do you count the husbands of River Song or Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead as her departure? Which is which? Again, Stephen Moffat again, refusing to let go. But at least at that point, it was intentional. But Rose, I think, when you compare it to all these other characters that actually did make it on the rankings, the number 2 spot, I think, that works really good for Rose, and definitely number 1 for Donna. Like, hers is one of the saddest. I mean, that's kind of the equivalent of Jamie and Zoe from the classic series having their memories wiped. But at least on the bright side, they actually do remember their meeting the Doctor, their first encounter with the Doctor. Donna cannot remember anything at all, which is weird because now they're bringing her back, and I'm assuming they're going to do some sort of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey thing where she can remember without burning up. But, I mean, it's still almost a year away, so there's really no point in speculating at this point. But hers is just, again, one of the saddest in the Martin series history. It breaks your heart every time you watch it, and like her final words are no, I don't want to forget, no, and just when even the Doctor doesn't want to do it, but he has to do it to protect her. Like, he doesn't want to give up on his friend. He's doing it because he has to, because he wants to protect her. And like, and that music, obviously, and that gif of David Tennant standing in the rain. Sorry, that moment of David Tennant standing in the rain that became a gif, and then obviously later in the End of Time Part 2, where he visits her wedding, and that other iconic moment that became a gif with Wilfred Maud just going. So I think I kind of messed up the order of things, but yeah, it's definitely one of the most tragic characters in the modern series, which is saying something considering who else is on this list. But yeah, I honestly no complaints about Donna being number one. I had some issues with whoever was number one on the rankings last time I did something like this, but Donna being at number one, no complaints there. Definitely not. Maybe I would have also put Amy and Rory at number two. But hold on, let me just, since this is the last one, let's try to put a ranking, something that Screen Rant didn't even bother to do, but let's see. So Donna at number one, Rose number two, Clara at number three, Martha number four, Amy and Rory number five, Bill number six, Yaz number seven, Nardole number eight, yeah, I can count, Ryan Graham at number 9, and Dan at number 10. So if it was me, I would think I'd probably put Dawn at number 1 still, Amy and Rory at number 2. Then I guess Rose. Or maybe Martha, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose Martha can stay at number 4. Number 5, I guess I'd probably put Bill at number 5. Then Nardole. Then Dan, number 7. Yaz, number 8. Ryan and Graham, I suppose, can stay at number 9. And then obviously Clara at number 10, because I just despise not just that character, but how that character was departed from the show. It's just, there's so many bad decisions made with that character that still bother me to this day. But I mean, well, it is what it is, and you're never going to get over that. And I just got a message. But yeah, I suppose I'll never really get over how much that character just went off the rails in the 2.5 seasons she was on. But well, I suppose at this point, the video's over. I gotta let it go. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite modern companion departure? Where would you rank Captain Jack and River Song and all these other companions that never even got on the list? Let me know how you would rank all of these yourselves, and hopefully I can find another one of these where they rank the classic series as well, because I'm definitely going to have some words there. But yeah, that's it for me, and maybe I'll do another one of these sometime in the near future. I don't know. I'm actually really enjoying doing this. So maybe I'll just start using StreamYard a little bit more to record this. Who knows? Anyways, this has been me. You have been you, and I will see you some other time. Geronimo! I keep forgetting to do this. Hold on. Geronimo! Hi there! Thank you for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time!